We'll do this in slices. We're going to have to. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump sat down with Televisa Univision for an exclusive. And at Mar-a-Lago, or either that or he's inside a 4th of July birthday cake for America. And, well, I mean, let's just hear how it goes. Hold on. This is, what the fuck? Again, what are you doing? I'm happy to take you on a magic carpet ride. I think I think it's great that we make fun of DeSantis for wearing heels while somehow I'm sitting on a full diaper and it looks like I have a pillow under my ass, and that's not weird. Also, how is it that you are shorter than me, but my head is smaller than yours? How is that possible? How big is the guy from Univision? Or did they just fuck with him? Did they pull a Gandalf? Did they move? I don't know if I could. Did Univision move his chair closer to this way? Are they staggered? Is Trump like looking at his right shoulder going, I don't know why we're off kilter. I think you're trying to make me look like a hobbit. Right? And then what's the table for if it's over there? So you can go like this? We need a table. It looks weird, but put it so out of reach as to be useless.
Mr. President, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. We really appreciate it. We're less than 1 year away from the election. Will you be on the ballot on November 5th?
Well, it looks like it, and it looks like we're number one in every poll, and we're number one against Biden or whoever's going to be running. And something's happening that's very interesting. They want to see our country do great again and make America great again.
And do great. I like, how about MODGA? Sure, why not? Make America do great again. MODGA? MODGA. Ew.
America first and all of those things. But
yeah, all those things. Everything that we either stole from Reagan or the Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden in 1941.
But certainly it looks very good.
Talking about...
It does look good. Not as good as this ballroom, I must say. Have you ever been in a place with as much fake gold leafing, except for the recreated version of it that they built in China? Thanks for flying all the way to Beijing and filming it here. People have no idea.
Polls, the New York Times Siena poll came out this week. It has you with a solid lead in 5 of the 6 states that could decide the election, including Arizona, Nevada,
right.
Georgia,
right.
which was a very contested state the last time around.
Yeah, and then Tuesday happened.
But it also has you with 42% of Latino voters' support. That's unprecedented for a Republican candidate. What do you think the message voters are sending with these numbers?
Well, the Latino vote is so incredible.
Oh, dear. I gotta say, when he starts complimenting minorities, it gets so weird so quick.
Because they're unbelievable people.
I don't even believe they are people. Did I say that out loud? Shit.
They have incredible skills, incredible energy.
You can see around here, I've got plenty of them working here. None of them have papers, don't ask. But
and they're very entrepreneurial. All you have to do is look at the owners of Univision. They're unbelievable entrepreneurial people. And they...
What do you mean, the owners of Univision? They didn't invent television. They just... What? Is that the only... Honest to God, you're being interviewed on this network. You're not there to kiss their ass. You're there to compliment, the Latino community or what have you, to try and garner their vote. You can't think of any other, like, businesses in the fucking Florida area that have a Latino or a Latina head of the... What the shit? all you have to think of is the one Espanol business I can think of, which is the one that's right here.
Like me, you know, there's never been anything like it in the Republican Party. I've been a Republican and am a Republican.
And will be a Republican until maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not a Republican. Maybe it's common sense.
And we have tremendous support from I call Hispanic, Latino. You have lots of different.
This shit makes me so uncomfortable. I don't even give a fuck. I'm happy to see this dude fuck up, but it's just like I feel bad for the person who has to hear it.
Different terms, but
yeah, what would some of those other terms your friends use? What would those be? What does Corey Lewandowski say? Or fucking Stephen Miller? What phrases? What names do they throw around?
it all means the same thing as far as I'm concerned.
It doesn't. It actually, there is a distinction. And they make a big deal out of that distinction in a lot of, like, South American countries. It's a big fucking deal.
They're just great people, incredible
Yeah, they just say they're great people. That's fine.
people. And they also want security if they're in the United States or if they're in Mexico
Yes.
or
What?
anywhere else. They feel strong about security, and we provide that.
What? So they should feel secure once they're inside the country, because I guess you pull up the ladder after yourself in the fucking lifeboat, fuck everybody else. And if they're in Mexico, we provide security for Mexico? What the ass?
And yeah, the polls,
Yeah.
nobody's ever seen anything like it.
It's a 42%, like I was saying, unprecedented for a Republican candidate, especially in states like Arizona and Nevada. Why do you think voters are responding to your message? And again, the message they are.
Is it that you're not going to let any other South American peoples of any sort into the country, that you want to wall off the thing so that they don't have to compete with other people like them anymore? It's the Debbie D'Souza factor.
Sending back in these numbers that we're seeing in the polls.
I think bigger than anything now is security. They want security. They want to have a border. We have tremendous numbers of people. As an example, from Mexico, they live here, whether it's permanently or part-time.
What would be the name of people who live here part-time, and they're people maybe live here permanently, but they're from Mexico, and there would what are those people called? I don't know. I gotta look it up.
They don't want to have people coming in and raiding their house or doing. Who wants people coming in from foreign countries?
They don't want people coming in and raiding their house.
Bad things. They want to see security. They want to have a border. You know, the borders work both ways.
Oh, I see. So the Hispanic vote in America is concerned about criminals from America going into Mexico and fucking the place up. Like Ted Cruz, I guess.
And we've had unbelievable relationships with Mexico. Your president is a friend of mine. He's a tremendous man. He's been very loyal to me. I've been very loyal to him. We just got along. He's a little bit different. He's a little further left than I am, perhaps, but he's a great gentleman and a wonderful man.
What was his name again?
Man.
Yeah, what was his name? You guys are really close. Say his name real quick. Just yeah, it's got to be on the tip of your tongue.
And I think he's done a fantastic job.
Who? What? Say his. Which guy? That guy? The president of Mexico? Oh, the president of Mexico. What was his name again? I can't.
Job for Mexico.
Oh, I see. He's done a good job for Mexico. So yeah. and who we talking about? Which, this president or the other president? Which president? I just want to go by names, because, you know, there've been changes over the years, obviously. Who?
Talking about Mexico, it's also holding a general election next year in 2024, just a few months before the U.S. presidential election. The U.S.-Mexico relationship
Yes, I know that. I didn't know that.
has been front and center in all the political discussions in Mexico. And
Yeah. What's been front and center? The part where he wants to bomb your country? That as soon as he gets back in office, he wants to launch military strikes against your country?
President López Obrador is leaving office.
Don't give him you can't tell him the name of you can't, that's cheating. See what they do? They give him a break. Don't tell him. Let him say Labrador a couple of times.
Mexico will elect its first female president. How do you foresee that transition?
Well, I understand that he's very
Oh boy.
close to your first female president, and that would have an impact on me because I did.
They haven't elected her. The election's next. Fuck me. What?
He's very close to your first female president, and that would have an impact on me because I did have a lot of respect for him.
So he'll tell her what to do because she's a chick? Get the fuck out of here. Listen to that shit again. Listen to him set this up. You're sitting there. You're in this fucking chair. Let's say you're a politician. You know dick about this. I'm sleepy time. You know fuck all about the Mexican election. You've just blitzed it. You got a lot on your mind. You're worried about your biggest political competitor being better at golf than you and passing an infrastructure bill that you can't even spell 8 of the words in it. And, you got a lot on your mind. And you're like, I got to nail this, man. I got to nail this interview. And the dude fucking T-ball sets you up with all the details you need. Let's listen to the details this guy lays out. All right. I'm going to fucking, I'm all right. I'm okay. Gonna be okay. But let's just see. This guy set Trump up for a question. Give him all the details he needs to respond to it. Even if he doesn't fucking know anything about it, which he clearly doesn't. And let's see what he does with tossing this word salad.
Has been front and center in all the political discussions in Mexico. And President López Obrador is leaving office. Mexico will elect its first female president. How do you foresee that transition?
Well, I understand that he's very close to your first female president, and that would have an impact on me because
She hasn't been elected yet. Shit, never mind.
I did have a lot of respect for him, and I understand that's the way it's working out. I don't know within your country, is that a guarantee? I don't think anything's guaranteed, certainly, but it seems to be heading in that direction.
Because you said it was?
And the relationship with him was so good that I think probably, if it's me, and I think it will be, I hope it will be based on the polls, we have to make sure we have an honest election. But if we have an honest election, I think I'll have a very good relationship with the new president of Mexico.
And that would be who would that be? Also, notice how even after he teed up Obrador's name, he still didn't repeat it because he did. I don't even know if he fucking can hear it. Jesus Christ.
Asshole.
I know. This is rough. This is fucking rough.
Here I am like an idiot.
Ouch. Yeah, he's going to call him Abdul.
Mexico has now become the U.S. largest trading partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. I did. I heard that because of USMCA. No, because of China's drop-off under Biden, because, yeah, let's see if he knows anything about that. Right now, the cost of labor in Mexico is cheaper than it is in China. That's one of the biggest shifts in the last, I guess, 30 years. But it's a huge deal. Let's see if he knows anything about that.
It used to be China, now it's Mexico.
Don't tell him. Just tell him the biggest trade partner and let him make up something. Let him talk about. This dude is fucking walking him through it.
You renegotiated NAFTA, now USMCA.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you, how you feel about the results USMCA has brought by 3
Well, it's the greatest thing ever. We had the greatest thing ever. It's terrible now. We're in hell, and we're in the tubes of hell.
years after it was implemented. And also this sort of contradiction of how Mexico has become an electoral foe, a political punching bag for some Republican hopefuls.
Some Republican hopefuls? You mean him? What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I have to tell you, the USMCA has been great for this country, but it's been great for Mexico too, and very good for Canada. But it's taken a lot of business away from other foreign lands, and it's brought it to Mexico.
Excuse me? Excuse me? That's your sales pitch. That it's taken business away from other foreign lands and brought it to a closer foreign land?
And I think it's one of the reasons that Mexico, the people like what I've done.
They're not, you dumb fuck. He's talking about American Hispanics voting for, he's talking about people who are actually citizens, shithead. They can't vote for you. Who gives a rat fuck? What are you talking about? What do you think, they're all going to make calls for you? Maybe he does. Maybe that's what this is about. Maybe Trump thinks he's going to set up call centers in fucking Mexico again and have them call Americans pretending to be Americans.
And they like me.
Who gives a shit? They can't vote. What the fuck are you talking about?
I like them.
How do you like them? Let me count the ways.
And having it in the region, bringing it between these 3 countries, big countries, great countries for you could say economic development.
I could say that. Can you say it?
You could say all sorts of different things.
All sorts of different things for these 3 countries for economic development. What the shit?
Any entrepreneurship, but
Jesus Christ, hit entrepreneurship because Hispanics like it when you call them that. I mean, I don't know if they like it, but they certainly like it better than what Steven calls them. Am I right? Hit it.
bringing all of this business in through Mexico now.
This motherfucker yesterday was like, fentanyl, human trafficking and fentanyl, and drugs and murder and crime and insane asylums, and Mexico's emptying out their prisons into the United States and stuff. But so much good, truckloads of stuff coming, trucks full of economic development. You know who he reminds me of in these situations? I swear to God, he reminds me of is it Rick Rossellini? If I'm blitzing on his name, the guy who played in Roxanne with Steve Martin. He played the dumb pretty guy, the fireman. When his earpiece goes out and he's just trying to wing it, and she goes, "I loved your letters. They were so extemporaneous." And he's like, she goes, "Tell me about the night." And he goes, "The night is wild, like love is wild and extemporaneous." Right? It's what he sounds like. It sounds like his earpiece has died most of the time.
Mexico's done in particular really well. And we've taken that away from foreign countries, very far away.
Yeah. Which foreign countries have we? And what countries would that be? Because you'll have to admit that we're reshoring factories, but Biden's bringing them to the United States. All right. Fuck.
So I think
which countries would that be? What foreign lands are you referring? This is some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard him say.
I've done a lot to help Mexico.
Is it something about accents that throw him off? Yes. Can I fluff your pillows?
And I'm very proud of that.
Some of the other Republican hopefuls have talked about military intervention in Mexico to stop fentanyl being trafficked.
So what are you talking about? He's the one who came up with the idea of fucking bombing the place. He's like, they didn't take my idea, did they?
Through the border. If you're re-elected president, would you support that idea?
Well, a lot of people said it was my idea. In fact,
yes, like it was like you nutcase. Oh, this is so bad. It's my idea. I came up with the idea of bombing Mexico first.
Like they said I was going to do that, but we would certainly deal with Mexico. The relationship is very good.
Yeah, and it would be great right up until I bombed the place.
Look, Mexico doesn't like what's happening either with.
Yeah, but they're not going to like that and being bombed by the United States. What are you talking about?
Fentanyl and with all of the other things that are passing over the border. And Mexico's a victim of it also. You have a tremendous drug problem for your people. The drugs, the destruction of families, the death. So we'd be dealing.
Uh-huh. And so what would be your plan to work with Mexico to deal with the drug problem? Oh, guided missiles. I see. All right.
Dealing with Mexico, but something has to be done about it. We're losing, I think, probably 250,000 people a year. That's like a big.
No, we're not. What? No, we're not.
Military intervention. Something has to be done about it.
Okay, all right. Listen to that fucking language. Back the fuck up. We're losing 250,000 people a year. No, we're not. The number, it got over 100,000 because of the number of people who died during the last year of his presidency and into the Biden years, like the first 2 months, which was the fiscal year, April to April. That time period, there was 100,000, 101,000, whatever. It cleared that number for the first time, and then it has receded because of interventions taken by the Biden administration and because Narcan and all kinds of other shit, and because of intercedents at the border. And listen to this fucker.
250,000 people a year. That's like a big military intervention. Something has to be done about it.
Okay, big military intervention. Okay, when that mean the word is invasion, fuckwad. Intervention is what we would do in response to it. That's where he's juggling words, two words he doesn't understand, so he just kind of swaps them, and who gives a fuck? We're not losing 250,000 people to fentanyl a year or Mexican drugs a year. That's just fucking stupid. And we certainly, if he's answering it, though, by saying that's like a military intervention, he's basically telling this guy, it's like Mexico is attacking us and murdering our people on purpose, not supplying drugs that there's a market for in the United States, and we have to do something on this side, and we got to make sure that if people are doing heroin, it's not laced with fentanyl, so they at least have a chance to fucking survive. Meanwhile, yes, guns are coming from our side of the border and pouring into fucking Mexico.
Would you agree there's a shared responsibility on this issue, considering the consumption of illegal substances in the U.S., but
what I say.
Also the role Big Pharma has played in creating this opioid.
He's not hearing a word of this.
Overdose crisis.
Yeah, Big Pharma is, look, they're a villain in many different ways. I know them better than anybody.
What? This motherfucker's he just heard Big Pharma, he's gonna go to vaccines now?
They're fans of mine. In fact, when they announced the vaccine, they did it one day before the election. That's okay with me. They weren't fans of mine. I got them to do things that nobody thought anybody could get really to do.
Excuse me? Say that again?
Fans of mine, I got them to do things that nobody thought anybody could get really to do. And
get really to do? You were able to get them to do things that they get really to do? Fabulous.
No, they've done some good things. They've done some very bad things also. There's no question about it.
So there's no question that pharmaceutical companies have done good things and bad things. My God, thank God we have someone as sharp and as on top of the issues as Donald John Trump, who can really cut through the wheat and the chaff. And I think those are two different things.
You think there's a shared responsibility on this issue?
I do.
And so a shared also goal to end fentanyl trafficking.
I do, but we also have to bring China into the picture because much of it comes from China. So we have to bring China into that picture. And if we don't bring them, we're just wasting time. We're just talking. This would just be an interview that doesn't mean anything. So
this is an interview that doesn't mean anything. And also bringing China into it is his way of blaming Mexico because the precursors for fentanyl come into Mexico from China. That's the point he's trying to make. Secondly, fentanyl from China, when it's made wholly there, or a lot of the precursors when it's cooked in the States, which it is in places like Arizona and other places, in a like replacing sort of the meth industry in a lot of these areas. Fuck Breaking Bad, it's a shitty show. I don't care. That it comes through ports. It doesn't come through fucking The border.
China's sending it. Much of it comes through Mexico. We have to work on that. But
What do you mean work on that? Oh, bomb them. Yes, right.
we have to stop it. We're losing, I think the real number is 250 to 300,000.
It's growing all the time.
Not 100,000. They've been saying 100,000 now for 10 years, 15.
No, they haven't. It didn't hit 100,000 until recently, and fentanyl hasn't even been around that long, you fucking moron. What? They have been saying 100,000 people dying of fentanyl every year since morphine was invented in the 1800s.
Years. It's 250 to 300,000 people.
No, it isn't. We would be running out of people, you asshole.
It's a very rare war where you lose that number of people. So this.
You might want to check in with your buddy Vladimir Putin, who you think is sharp as a tack and top of his game and right out of central casting and blah, fucking blah, because he's just lost 300 fucking thousand people in his war of choice. It's a bad choice of, all right.
This is a war. It's a war on drugs, and we're going to get.
It's a war on drugs. Ah. I remember that phrase, Nancy, just say the opposite of what Don Jr. says.
It won, and we'll deal with Mexico on it. Look, Mexico wants it solved just as much as we do.
This week, you were in New York in court. Today, you're facing 4 indictments in multiple jurisdictions. Are you concerned that you might win the Republican nomination only to be forced to drop out of the race?
Well, I don't think you drop out. I think the people know it's a political persecution. It's a political hoax. This is Biden, who's the worst president in the history of our country. We've never had a president so dumb, so incompetent, and
still able to pass an infrastructure bill and get us out of Afghanistan. What was your excuse, fuckwad? Also, how did your border wall end up making the border worse? I'll wait.
So corrupt from the standpoint of what they're doing. They've weaponized.
So corrupt from the standpoint of what they're doing.
The Justice Department. They've weaponized the FBI. And they've come at me with the worst indictments. Nobody's ever seen anything like it.
Well, that's because we've never had a crimey criminal like you criming around the White House.
And I'm probably the only guy ever indicted whose poll numbers have shot up through the roof. I mean,
well, you get what you pay.
It's actually been helpful from the standpoint.
Oh, yeah. Totally helpful.
Of getting elected, because the people understand it. It's a hoax. And everything they did, whether they rigged the election last time or this, it's the same thing. It's all the same thing. And frankly, it's the only thing they're good at.
Also, real quick, can I revisit this point? How the fuck did they rig the election while you were president of the United States? How did, honest to God, you sound like Grand Moff Tarkin, for fuck's sake. These rebels.
Rigging elections. This is a form of rigging an election.
Is it? It's just one of the many forms, though.
So they think they can damage me. Now, so far, it's been the exact opposite, because when you study it, and I have a voice. I mean, I have a voice with you. I have a voice.
Yeah, I have a voice. You're not afraid to el cradle my balzos, or however it's said by the whatever Stephen Miller calls you people, but
voice with others where I can talk about it, whereas other people, if they have a.
I thought your freedom of speech was gone. Didn't we have? Isn't freedom of speech gone? Well, maybe this is only going to air in Mexico, he thinks. So
got indicted. They're out of politics. They go to the microphone. They say, "I'm going to spend the rest of my life, clearing my name. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with my family." I've seen.
Yeah, but you would never do either of those things. So
it hundreds of times, as you have in Mexico. That I can tell you.
What?
With my family, I've seen it hundreds of times, as you have in Mexico.
Jesus Christ. That's what people do, like Mexican leaders. When they get busted, they just fucking walk away. Mexico's full of criminals. Have you ever had a president that wasn't indicted, except my friend and the lady that might be next year?
That I can tell you.
That I can tell you.
No, it's backfired on them. And they would have liked to have done it more, But nobody's ever done this before in this country. This is for third world countries. This is
Careful.
for banana republics. This is
Careful.
for countries that don't do this kind of thing.
I thought it was for countries that do this kind of thing. Isn't that the whole point of the contrast? This is for countries that don't do this kind of thing. Well, if they don't, wouldn't we be that country that doesn't do this kind of thing and we shouldn't be doing this? Never mind. What?
And they've now tried it because they're losing so badly in the polls that if they can try and damage me for the election, and I don't
You mean like your bullshit Hunter Biden laptop nonsense?
think the people are going to take it.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Tuesday's any indication.
And I do, it's very interesting because they're all in Democrat areas, radical left, blue areas.
Mm-hmm. You know where all the people and the money is?
I have a lot of radical left judges. I have a lot of, but despite that, I think it's all working.
Also, real quick, I don't know why they have this kind of caramelized camera on this one. The other one's softer. I don't know if they're trying to protect his bald spot. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Totally fine. But on this angle, is it just me? Is this just a cheaper camera? Because it looks like they turned the contrast way fucking up and he looks all caramelized. You know what I'm talking about? This is what he really looks like. And the other one, they tried to fix it.
Because the people ultimately are going to speak. And I think the people
See what I mean? There you go. See the shift?
get it better than anybody else, better than we do. It's amazing. They see it. Nothing like this has ever happened in this country. It does happen in other countries, but these are developing nations. These are third world nations. So Biden is a man
Yeah, in third world nations, you don't get this much legal leeway, asshole.
who has unleashed something that's a very bad thing, because when that happens to me, it can happen to them.
Not really.
And, you know, he's a very corrupt president.
You say
It's a good way to, well done. I like the way you petered out on that
they
one.
weaponized the Justice
Yeah.
Department. They weaponized the FBI. Would you do the same?
Would you do the same? Well, only if you give me la entrevista on the thing. And thank you for extending my chin as much as possible. Okay, we'll be back soon. Hold on. They step forward. That we'll take our first break. Here we go. We'll take our first break during this one. That's the end of part one. Tune in later for part two. You're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. I am the Democratic Machine. Speaking of cheap and shitty, do we go back for one more segment of Donald Trump, La Entrevista?
You say they've weaponized the Justice
Yeah.
Department.
They totally have.
Weaponized the FBI. Would you do the same if you're reelected?
Well, he's unleashed something that everybody,
That you can't leash.
we've all known about this for 100 years. We've watched other
100 years.
countries do it. And in some cases effective, and in other cases the country's overthrown or it's been totally ineffective.
So you're saying it's good or bad, or it's only good when you do it, or it might work or it won't work, or what?
But we've watched this for a long time, and it's not unique, but
You do realize you haven't been alive for 100 years. You might think you're a vampire, but you're fucking not.
it's unique for the United States. Yeah, if they do this, they've already done it. But
Yeah, I mean, it's already done. I mean, why? I mean, and obviously it's helping the economy somehow. It's weird.
if they want to follow through on this, yeah, it could certainly happen in reverse. It could certainly happen in reverse. What they've done is they've released the genie out of the box. You understand that?
I didn't realize they boxed genies these days. Like genies are fucking donuts now. Boxed. Pandora's box. Genie out of the bottle. God damn it. Will you fucking check with your how to talk human? Hire somebody from Meta that works with Zuckerberg. What the shit? The genie out of the box.
What they've done is they've released the genie out of the box. You understand that? They've done something
All right, I don't even know how to even. That's clearly that's a drop. CSL.
that nobody thought would happen.
Yes, nobody ever thought someone would keep. Nobody puts genie in a box.
They've taken a president who is very popular. I got 75 million votes, much more than that, I believe. No president's ever gotten that many votes.
Yeah, the mail-in voting does help, actually.
And they've taken that number of people, and I think you can double it or almost you can triple it in terms of the feeling.
The real feeling, yes. You can triple the number of voters I have and how excited they are, which they still only get to vote once.
You can't do that. You can't go.
Yeah, what's in the box? Oh, turns out a genie. I didn't know that. Yeah, what a weird turn in the movie Seven, when it turned out to be, you know, Robin Williams as a blue genie.
Go after people. You know, when you're president and you've done a good job and you're popular, you don't go after them so you can win an election. They've done indictments in order to win an election. They call it weaponization.
No, they don't. They don't call it. You call it that. And they're not going after you because they're afraid of you. They're going after you because you're a criminal, crimey.
And
criminal, crimer.
The people aren't going to stand for it, but
well, they're not going to stand up and wait in line to vote for you if that's
they have done something that allows the next party. I mean, if I happen to be president and I see somebody who's doing well and beating me very badly, I say,
you'll just do what you perceived was done to you, even though it wasn't.
Go down and indict them. Mostly, that would be, you know, they would be out of business. They'd be out. They'd be out of the election. In my case, they were such pathetic indictments, like I challenged the election. I challenged the election. Everybody challenges elections if they think they're wrong. The Democrats challenged my election in 2016.
Right, but they didn't break the law doing it. They stayed within the law. They did the challenges on the floor. Those failed, and then they went on with their fucking lives.
Almost everybody, they challenged it. Well, nothing happened there. So these are political indictments.
He's a silly person.
These are Biden indictments, and the people get it. They really get it. It's been very impressive.
Especially the Mexico people.
To watch. Polls came out today that I'm leading as you know, in Florida, I'm leading Ron DeSanctimonious. I call him that because I got him elected, and then he runs against me. DeSanctimonious. He's a sanctimonious guy.
One moment, please. Try to, yeah, here we go.
Sanctimonious.
Yes, if I may. Making a show of being morally superior to other people. What happened to all the sanctimonious talk about putting his family first? Similar to self-righteous, holier than thou, churchy, pious, pietistic, moralizing, unctuous, I like that one, smug, superior, priggish, mealy-mouthed, that's weird, hypocritical, insincere, religious, pharisaic, like being a Pharisee. Ah, I love you. CSL for the fucking win. 1 second. Can you hold that thought, dumbass? Because I'd like to click on something, if I may, right here. Eric Trump loves China. Here we go.
I've been to China many times.
Really?
I have.
I've been all that time. Whatever. Can I buy you a drink that fizzes a lot?
So,
What was the impression?
I love China.
I love China.
Really?
I love China.
I love China. I loved it. I said I loved it. I saw I loved it. And I get confused at work. So I love China.
I spent quite a bit of time over there last year.
Oh yeah? Did you? You spent quite a bit of time over there last year, did you?
Really,
For what?
really loved
Yeah, for what?
it. Looking at different projects, it's a market that I think we'll be in very soon.
Oh yeah? Real soon? Were you? I guess right after that? Yeah.
We
Do you have
have
any plans for China?
Do you have any plans for China? It's a good question. I like
we
it.
have a lot of plans for China.
Oh, we got a lot of plans. Yes.
So we've got an amazing buyer base.
Oh, you got an amazing buyer base. What do they buy? What Trump stuff do they buy in China?
That's from China originally.
Ah, I see. They're from China originally, but now they live in the States.
Has apartments in our building.
Oh, like Yi Jianming, the head of CEFC. Like that guy who bought a $5 million apartment in your building?
That use our hotels, that
Yeah, they buy out whole floors and don't even have people in the rooms.
are members of our golf clubs.
Oh, they're members of your golf. Yeah, so that's right. There are a lot of Chinese nationals who, during the presidency, became members of Mar-a-Lago and Doral and Bedminster. That's funny.
There's a very, very loyal following base.
Oh, yeah, they're very loyal. Very loyal to Trump. Obviously not the CCP, but...
To the Trump name, and so it's just a very logical place for us to be soon.
Yeah, it's very logical.
I've been to China many times.
Yes, you have. Congratulations. So have I, by the way. 你会说中文吗? Can you speak Chinese? 我说中文说得很好。真的吗? So, anyways, we're gonna store that for later, cause it's the shiznizzle. And you were saying, stupid. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to show that your son was.
But he's very
bragging about the China money that they got. The China money.
Popular now in Florida. I've taken him from popular to very unpopular. I got more votes than him. You know, a lot of people don't know. I got 1.2 million votes more than he got.
Yeah, he's one of your fellow Republicans, right? You know that even if he's not president, you kind of want him in. Yeah, have it in permanent holster. Thank you so much with the Trump Sky News thing. Lovely. I think it'll be a callback on that one, my friend.
In Florida, nobody talks about that. The fake news.
Yeah, because we don't give a fuck, asshole. Nobody gives a shit about the competition between you and other Republicans, except to laugh about it. It's popcorn fun. Why do you think about it for a second. This dickhead thinks that the media should be jumping through their shirt showing how much more popular he is than other Republicans. Is that something you do when you're winning? Motherfucker, you have half your party. This guy got 96% of the vote. The only reason the other people are at like 9, 7, 3, 6% is because there's so many of them.
Doesn't want to talk about it. So I talk about it, like on your show, which will get big ratings. You're going to get such big ratings. But we're leading him by a lot, and we're leading Biden by a lot. You alluded to it in your first question. We're leading Biden, according to the New York Times, no fan of mine, but we're leading him practically everywhere. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But we want to make America great again, and we're going to do it. We're going to get along great with South America. We're going to do great with Mexico. We have really great. I had tremendous relationships with Mexico. In fact, my son-in-law, Jared, got an award, a medal, which is like the equivalent of just about your biggest award. And he
just about
did that because...
What would that medal be called? Is it, I mean, I don't expect you to know the Spanish name of it, but what would the name of that be? And who was the president that gave him that one? You pathetic twerp.
The relationships and the business things that we've been able to do.
Yeah, the business things
between the countries, and even the military and the security things we've done between the countries.
Which would be what, the 28,000 soldiers that you got while you built an access road on the other side of the wall that created a traffic spot for illegal migration. Dummy.
Do you think the border is now more secure because of that relationship and the partnership you've been able to
That's a trick question.
with Mexico?
Well, the border is now not secure. The border is now the worst border in history, probably the history of the world. No third world country would have a border like this.
Well, a third world country, arguably, if we're to use that vernacular, would just open fire on refugees, fuckwad.
Say they'd fight them with sticks and stones. I mean, we're millions of people. I believe.
Oh, because third world countries don't have access to guns. Wow. I'll tell you what the problem is. You're a fucking moron.
The number is going to be 15 million people by the end of this crazy administration. This administration.
What kind of people are who's coming in?
Administration's crazy. They have an open border policy, which, by the way, is terrible for Mexico. I spoke to your president. Your president.
Yeah, what's his name again?
Knows this because people are coming.
Yeah, your president knows this. What's his name?
Through all over the world. They're walking through Mexico. Mexico doesn't want that. They're coming through. It's like a human highway.
Uh-huh. What was his name again?
And they come through by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions through Mexico.
So these people aren't Mexican, is what you're saying. Why are you making Mexico provide the soldiers? Why wouldn't you want them to put those soldiers on their southern border then? Why would you want them guarding our border if they're just going through Mexico? Because
And bad things happen when that
yeah, well, sure.
takes place. So
When that takes place.
your president hates it.
What's his name again? Your president. It's on the tip of my tongue. He's God. You know what? You probably know.
I hate it. We had
Yeah, you hate it. What's your name?
the safest border in history. We had the most secure border in history. Mexico actually
We had COVID, worse than Mexico, so a lot of people just didn't want to come in.
gave us soldiers at my request. They gave us soldiers.
No, they didn't. We don't. They didn't give us people, motherfucker. Mexico isn't a slave state, fuckhead. They didn't give us soldiers. Secondly, again, if they're coming through Mexico and you have a good relationship with Mexico, and then people that are coming in aren't Mexican, then why not put those people on the southern border of Mexico to stop the caravans down there if they're not largely men? Sorry, I'm getting lightheaded.
Free of charge, a lot of them, thousands and thousands of soldiers. We
Big, sweaty men with mustaches.
had this, especially while I was building the wall, because we built 561 miles of wall. And then after, we're going to build another 200 miles. It was all done, all fabricated, all ready to put up. And these really ignorant people from this administration decided
Wouldn't let you put it on Indian land and on private property using eminent domain, including those people whose private property it was?
we want open borders. Open borders are very bad, and they're very bad for us, but they're very bad for Mexico also, because everybody from all over the world is walking through Mexico, and to a much lesser extent Canada, but they're walking through Mexico, and you don't want a lot of these people that are coming in to be walking through Mexico.
Well, as long as they keep walking, I guess. So the argument is that you think Mexico is not dealing with these people because they're going to America and they're just letting them go through. And since as long as they continue to walk towards America, Mexico won't do shit about it, right? Is that what you're telling this young man?
And President Biden promised he would not add another foot of border wall during his administration, but now they're building, I believe, around 20 miles of barrier in Texas. Do you think that's a good decision?
Well, they hated to make it because it showed that I was right, but still 20 miles doesn't do
If you'll recall, some of the wall blew over. They have an obligation.
Much, but they hated to make that decision. You know, I used to give speeches in 2016 because in 2016 the border was very bad. And then I fixed it so well, it was so good, not as good as I had it at the end of the last term, but I...
What was going on at the end of the last term? There was something else big in the news then that was affecting like travel and people coming and going from countries, and it was something else. I'm blitzing on it. It was something. I don't know why, but the 19 sticks in my head, even though it was 2020. I'll figure it out.
Fixed it so well. We did
so good.
So good with it that I couldn't talk about it with the next election coming up in 2020. There was nobody wanted to listen. I said, I want to talk about the border. They said, sir, nobody's listening because you fixed it.
No. You want to talk about the border? Nobody's listening because Americans were dying by the tens of thousands. Because you had signed a trade deal with the Chinese while saying everything was going to be fine and that COVID was going to disappear with the sun and you'll be fine. Just stick a light bulb up your ass and drink some bleach and swirl it around in your lungs and gargle with it and you'll be fine. Try ivermectin, all that shit. That's why nobody wanted to talk about the fucking border.
And I said to myself, isn't that incredible? You fixed the border. You did such a good job. We had the safest border. We had the safest border in the history of our country by far. And that included drugs and that included human trafficking.
No, you didn't, because more drugs came across. That's why the fentanyl deaths.
That included everything. We had the safest border we've ever had. And now we have the most unsafe border because Biden, what he's done with the border is a disgrace.
It's like a restaurant that's closed during a hurricane, and goes, we had the cleanest bill of health from the health department we've ever had during the hurricane because they couldn't come out and check.
It's a disgrace. It's not even believable. You would say either to do something like that,
You're either stupid or you want an invasion or it's an attack or blah, blah, blah.
ignorant, or you hate the country. Because what it's done, we have 15 million people in our country.
I love how the number just grows all the time. Just fucking shrug it off.
Many people come from prisons. Many people come from mental institutions.
Yeah, those Mexican mental institutions.
And insane asylums. You know,
Both.
they don't want
Silence of the Lambs. El Silence de Lamos.
me using the word the words insane asylum. That's Silence of the Lamb. That's Hannibal Lecter. You ever hear
First of all, Silence of the Lambs, plural. You shitheel.
of Hannibal Lecter? Not a nice person. But these
Fictional.
are people that are very, very disturbed, very, very mentally ill. They're being dropped into the United States. They come
Apparently, they're able to walk all the way through Mexico without pulling any shit, though.
through Mexico mostly, but they're
Mostly, and they don't. They're crazy, uncontrolled maniacs, but they can hold it together for thousands of miles.
being dropped into the United States. Who can want this? But we have them coming in from Africa,
Ooh.
from China,
Oh yeah.
from all over the world. And
Yeah, but mostly Africa and China.
a
Oh.
lot of these are young men, you know, young single men, or single in terms of coming into the country at least.
Yeah, they might be married back at home. I just don't. I feel lied to. Single in terms of coming into the country. Yeah, they're just here to wag it about. Shit.
And you
You're like, don't you even have a girlfriend? And they're like, nope.
say, what's going on here? We have a large number of people coming in from China, young men.
Mm-hmm. They are. And they're coming across the Mexican border, are
We
they?
have people coming in from a lot of different countries.
Sure.
You know the countries almost better than I do.
Yeah, he's asking for a hint. Dude, he wants you to fill in those countries for him. He's lost. You know those countries better than I do. Like, Flabbers. What are they? What countries are? Name some South American countries so I can nod.
Because you see it. Bad
Does he?
things are happening, and a
Yeah, you see what bad things are
lot
happening.
of terrorists are coming into our country, and we didn't have that at all. You know, I went 4 years without any terrorist attacks. Nobody can believe it. We had
January 6th, anybody?
tremendous
Support from our terrorists. We had good terrorists, not outside, not foreign terrorists. We had homegrown terrorists.
tremendous emphasis was put on terrorists coming into our country.
Was
I
it?
had provisions that nobody ever thought to use before.
Yeah, these provisions.
We had no terrorist attack, and I couldn't talk about it during the term I was president, during the time I was president, because I didn't want to talk about it, and then we have an attack the next day. That's not good. That actually happened to these people. They talked about it, and then Israel was attacked, and the whole thing is blown up now. Now
What? You do realize Israel isn't in the United States, right, asshole?
the whole world, just so you say, the whole world is blown up.
It's okay. Well, guess what? Portland, you're off the hook. Yeah, I thought it was hot in here. I thought it was just because of the computers in my room, but apparently the whole world is, yeah, rip the whole world. Hashtag rip the whole world. Oh boy.
Right now, you have a
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, obviously not. We're not through it yet.
man who's a tremendous leader, a very strong man. Some people like him, some people don't.
You mean Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Also, he's strong, but you
No, he wasn't going there.
have, I'm talking about a different situation. You have in Hungary, Viktor Orban.
Oh, he's still fucked up about mixing up Orban and Erdogan.
And they were interviewing him last week, and they said, what would you recommend to Biden to do? Because the whole world is blowing up. Not just this country or your country, the whole world is blowing up.
Because there's a fight in the Donbass and the Luhansk and Donetsk region and the Crimean region of Ukraine, where there has been a fight going on since 2014. And also Israel and Palestine have blown up again in another link in a chain of a series of back and forths between those two countries. But the whole world, fuck it. I'm sorry. You were saying the whole world is on fire.
You look at Ukraine and you look at Israel and everything that's going on. The whole world is a mess.
Yeah, that isn't the whole world.
And he said, I tell him, immediately resign and let Trump take over. Because when Trump was here, China was afraid, Russia was afraid. There was no problem, whether it's afraid or respect. I'd rather have the word respect. But he said, we had no problems. The whole world was at peace.
We had COVID, fuckwad.
I didn't start any wars. I'm the first one, but I finished one with ISIS. You know, we defeated ISIS in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, then who was the suicide bomber that blew up the civilians and our military people in Afghanistan?
Because we have a military. The United States military is so great. I rebuilt the entire military.
Did you? You must be exhausted.
The United
Do you still have that click in your elbow from all the fucking ratcheting you did with the fucking monkey wrench?
United States military is great. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. Everyone said it would
In 4 weeks.
take 4 years and you wouldn't be able to do it.
Nobody said that.
We have an incredible military. We don't get to show it, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's the one thing about the American military is we really don't. People don't know what a big military we have.
Look, it's peace through strength, really. But we didn't. I'm the first president in 71 years that didn't start a war.
Yeah, Biden hasn't started a war either. You do realize that, right? He has not started a war. Hamas attacking Israel or Russia attacking Ukraine is not Biden starting a war. He hasn't started one either. He got us out of one. You didn't even get us out of, never mind the fact that you absolutely ratchet up bombing in Syria and whatever the fuck, and that's an ongoing thing. But you didn't get us out of Afghanistan, fuckwad.
And when Hillary Clinton was running against me, she said, if you look at him and if you hear him, he's going to get us into wars. I said, no, I'm going to keep you out of wars. And that's what I did. But Viktor Orban, who's a highly respected
Racist.
Leader.
Bigot.
And really a good man, he said.
No, not really, not a good man.
That Trump had this thing going so well. 3 years ago, we had no problems. We had no inflation.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. We had, I don't even remember what happened 3 years ago. What happened in 2020? Do you guys, honestly, there's a big gap in my memory. I don't know what happened. Everything was so good, I guess. I must have been high on life. I don't even remember. It was so good.
We had no Ukraine problem. We had
no Ukraine problem. We had any problem. Everybody was just taking a nap. Everybody was just binge watching shows and kicking back.
No Israel problem. We had no problems.
We had no Israel problem.
Literally,
we had another problem. I can't remember what it was.
Whatsoever. We had a border that was secure.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, there was something else though. There was something that was off.
The most secure it's ever been. The United States economy was the strongest it's ever been.
Yeah, but I seem to remember we seem to have added $6 to $9 trillion to the national debt because there was an emergency of some sort.
We did some job.
Yeah, we did some job, absolutely. On what was it? What was the thing? There was something happened.
And now everything is horrible.
Yeah, it certainly isn't as good as it was during what was that thing called? The COVID pandemic. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. So there was that happened, right? Remember that when there were like tens of thousands of people dying and you had to have like hospital boats go to New York and you wanted credit for putting up fucking cots in a auditorium and people were sheltering in place essentially, and it totally changed. Like the entire world economy shut down. Planes weren't flying anywhere. It was like there's like 10 fucking volcanic eruptions at once. As far as international travel, it just fucked everything up. There was something. Yeah. I remember that part. Let me get this right. Your economic and security plan is to bring that back. That's your fucking plan.
You're going to end up in a world war. We have an incompetent leader of the United States. He can't walk off a stage. He can't find the stairs. He can't put two sentences together.
And yet he kicked your ass in a debate. That's weird.
He can't talk.
Really? Can't talk.
And this man is dealing with Putin and President Xi and all of these people.
Yeah, it's weird. It's maybe he's using sign language.
That would probably not say they love us, but we have somebody that's negotiating for us. And you know, when you talk about...
Look, you can't shit on someone and say they can't put two sentences together and then run dry mid-sentence. Especially when it's about a serious topic, you tit.
Negotiating, you're talking about the biggest threat in this world today. It's probably a question you're going to ask me. It's border and all of that, but the biggest threat is nuclear weapons. And we have a man that doesn't even know what a nuclear weapon is.
I'm fairly certain he knows what they are, yeah.
As our chief negotiator.
Also, the president is not our chief negotiator. He's got people who are in charge of that. But he's obviously directing what he will accept in part to negotiations, but he's not the primary on it because he doesn't want to, I guess, get bitch slapped the way you did. Also, not the biggest threat in the world.
And it's a very scary thing. You could end up in World War III.
I could. Yeah. Well, the way I act, clearly.
And if World War...
I'm sorry, Wes. I can't, for whatever reason, the camera thing won't work right now. Otherwise, I would have had Ficus deal with this dickhead a while back.
World War III happens, probably Mexico will no longer be around.
Why? Fuck did they do? Why would they get high? Why would they be? They don't even have nuclear weapons. Why would they be high on the target list? What do you think? Russia's going to miss?
Because the power of nuclear weapons are so big.
How big are they?
If they hit us, you're going to be wiped out too. That's
Are they though?
how bad it is.
Are they really? What do you would just drift or?
And when I hear these people talking,
So what part of So they're going to hit El Paso and it'll just kind of catch the wind, or
about the environment, and over a 300-year period, the oceans will rise by 1/100th of an inch. And this is such a threat. It's not a threat. The threat is not global warming. It's nuclear warming. It's the single biggest threat to your
nuclear warming
country, to our country, to every country.
To global security. You said, but
The
you
single biggest threat.
Jesus Christ. Well, then why did you allow Kim Jong-un to, he started off with one nuke or two nukes at the beginning of your presidency and had at least 9 by the end. And you didn't limit his nuclear program at all. You didn't make him stop. None, oh, God. By the way, I went way over tonight because I was having too much fun. And we went down a rabbit hole trying to find some footage, and I'm very proud of us. But I've got to sign off because I've got fucking radio in the morning, too. And it's, quite frankly, it's garbage night. I have to go take the trash out because I'm that kind of a guy. And, but in the main, yeah. So that's only a quarter of that fucking interview. And already, just a fucking mess. We'll get to more of it maybe over the course of the weekend. I have a charity thing that I'm doing for like an animal charity on Saturday. We got to do some prep for it tomorrow night, and then I will be posting all about it and stuff. I'm going to see if we can live stream it. If they have the ability of the building, I'll know tomorrow night, and then I'll bring my setup and just kind of run that thing and just have it up and running the whole time. So fingers crossed it'll actually work. We repeated Trump nuclear warming totally in sync with the same inflection. Jesus Christ. I don't doubt it, CSL. Good nuclear warming. What an asshole. This is the thing. This is the thing. It's terrible. We wanted things to go back to the way they were. They were perfect during COVID. Nobody had to work. It was It was Republican socialism of the highest order. It was the kind of communism we like, which is blame it on the Democrats, but pay everybody to stay home, and then we can all get PPP loans and pretend we've never taken a dime from the federal government and that we're bootstrappers, and all the old people are dying and leaving us their money, except me, because that was scary. Oh, shit. So, anyways, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later, and I will talk to the kidney. At some point, but I'll, I'm not quite sure when. But I will see you guys tomorrow for the House Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, with Johnny Million and Philip Ittner, who will be live in Ukraine again. Appreciate it so much. We're going to try and get the guys, Serpent ZA and Lao Y86 from the China show next week if we can. And maybe Bob Seska, drag him in. That'd be lovely, because I have some stuff I want to talk about with that young man. And we all need to applaud the fact that he was the one who pointed out that Trump looked like he was in a toaster in that video. And I thought it was just fucking genius. And I want to tell him personally. And yeah, that's that. And I love you guys. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. Get some sleep. You're going to need it. I'm going to be long-winded.